Friends, welcome. It's good to see you. When was the last time you read a comic? Maybe a comic that you went and bought, or the short funnies in the newspaper. It might even been one of the single meme images on social media. In the last week, I've read a couple of comics. A new Beano with my daughter, and one of my historic 30-year-old Beanos over a mid-morning coffee. In the latter, the Bash Street Kids have one of their number in hospital, and the rest go to visit them. And here's the point. What do you think they took with them? What is that one thing that comics depict being taken to someone in hospital? The answer, of course, is grapes. Grapes in the bunch, grown on the vine. A bunch of grapes to show friendship, a bunch of grapes to show the person matters. The grapes to the convalescing are a trope that no longer applies in real life. But we get the message when we see it in a comic or film. I've always thought that grapes are a strange fruit. They grow best on old vines in precise conditions. And the vines can't just be left to it. They need pruned and cleaned, protected and cajoled into producing fruit. To get the best grapes takes a lot of work. The best fruit comes from hard work and making sure the growth that is hindering the good, sweet fruit is removed. In our reading today, Jesus talks about being the vine, to which we are attached, from which we grow fruit. This doesn't mean we get exquisite bunches of grapes for earrings, but as is often the case, Jesus is talking through the metaphor found in everyday items in the ancient Near East. So let's hear those words now.
The reading is from the book of John, chapter 15, starting at verse 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be given to you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have obeyed my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this, so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business.
Thank you, Claire. A passage about connections and about fruit we bear. Jesus is talking about the way that we are connected to each other, to God, and how the fruit we grow is produced. This is a reading that speaks about connection and is especially relevant in a year when connection in some way has been difficult. But in response, we have found new ways of connecting with each other. If we think of anything that grows fruit, we know that not all branches are the same. Some have been damaged, and some grow in perfect conditions. Some fruited heavily last year and not this, and some are fruiting well this year but didn't last. In the reading, we also hear of pruning, which is sometimes translated as cleaning. This pruning is not a metaphor for any of us being cast out, thrown away because our fruit is not as good this year as it was last. The pruning and the cleaning of the vine is the purposeful transformation to grow more fruit. It's the changes that each one of us make in our lives that bring about more faith, hope, and love that reaches beyond where we are. I love the image that's described by Jesus. I love that in his metaphor, we're encouraged to remember that we don't try to fruit alone, but are connected to God and each other. And it's through that connectedness that the abundance of fruit is grown. We're not in competition as Christians, seeking to be better than each other. We're not trying to be bigger or more something than our neighbours near or far. I'd go as far to say we're not in competition with anyone. And anywhere that love is shown and good is done, because their vine is fruiting and that should be celebrated. We're rooted into the creator of all things and bearing fruit together. Sometimes as individuals we produce a lot, and sometimes we don't. But that's okay. We're one vine working together and fruiting together, connected and caring. If we're connected in person via WhatsApp or over FaceTime, if we're connected over the garden wall or via telephone calls or Facebook Messenger, if we're connected through a love of old comics, over Discord, or in any other way you could imagine, however we're connected, we are connected, each responsible for reaching out to each other and to God. In our mutual connection, let us be like the Bash Street Kids. Let us bear fruit together and work together to show those who are ill or struggling or marginalised in some way that we care. Christ is the vine, we are the branches. Let us bear good fruit together. So go into your week as part of the living vine. Go from here to bear fruit and share that fruit with others.